Now, where was the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau when people were financially abusing people who were trying to get their student loans, giving out the banks when they were giving out mortgages to people that they knew they could not afford it? Where were they at? Hi friends, welcome to Moms and Money, where we talk about making money, managing money, and saving money for the women in the household. Yes, you read that title right, okay? Joe Biden wants to cancel Experion, TransUnion, and Equifax. Literally the word cancel, okay? First of all, I saw two videos on YouTube that had a title similar to this. And unfortunately, these creators, they didn't cite any articles. So I started digging in because I want to know more about this because I hadn't heard of this. And so the more I researched, I did find several articles from reputable news outlets like Yahoo News, Forbes, and Reuters that all had a article about how part of Joe Biden's plan is thinking, keyword thinking, about literally canceling all these credit bureaus. Okay, so you're probably thinking, well, what does that mean? Okay, so I dug in and I read several of these articles. I will definitely link them in the description box for you to research on your own. But essentially, that's true. Okay, so let's just give a little bit of context about these three bureaus. I know most of you probably already know what they are and what they do, but basically they hold 1.6 billion accounts, about 200 million Americans in this country. You know, believe it or not, but our country literally runs off of credit. Okay, I know the Dave Ramsey fans are like, who cares about your credit score? But I'm one of those people that actually care about their credit score because, you know, every job that I've had ever has always pulled my credit, except for my jobs in high school, of course. But after I got my degree and was working in corporate America, every single job I had ran my credit. You know, your credit will determine how much you're going to pay in an apartment, how much interest you're going to pay to buy a home or a car. And that's a lot of power, especially when you don't come from a place where you could pay cash for everything. Not everybody can just do that right away. And so, you know, that's a lot of power that these for-profit companies have. Okay, they analyze consumer borrowing and payment patterns for all of these 200 million adults. Okay, and again, they are for-profit companies, meaning that all the information that they house, they then sell it to lenders so that, you know, you and I can borrow money to do whatever we need to do, whether we want to buy a house or buy a car or buy some land, whatever we want to do. We essentially, our system in this country is set up to borrow money to do it, because some of us will never in our lifetime make enough money to just purchase a house cash. Now, I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I'm just saying that a lot of us can't. That's not attainable for your average 25, 30-year-old or even 35-year-old who's trying to buy a home for the first time. It's just impossible. As well as like student loan debt and credit card debt that keeps on increasing. There's no way that you can save hundreds of thousands of dollars now to buy a home, especially in this type of real estate market. Now, here's the problem with the three credit bureaus, okay? They each have different processes to get your credit score. So if you right now were to go to annualfreecreditreport.com, all of us get one free credit report each year, you'll see that your credit score will be different in all three bureaus, okay? Not hugely different, like 100 points or something like that, but you'll see maybe 10 points, 15 points, 20 points difference in between the three. And that's because there's really not that much transparency when it comes to how each of the calculations are done to get the score for each individual person. All of them are different. There is a problem with that. I believe, you know, I agree that there is a problem with that. We should have more transparency about how our score is calculated. We know that, you know, how much your borrowing has your debt to income ratio has an effect on it. And of course, if you pay your payments back on time, that's hugely, but all those little different calculations, we really don't know how they come up with that score. Also, is it fair? Like, why is it that when you pay off a credit card and choose to close that credit card, why does your credit score go down for that? Or why, if you do happen to be able to pay your mortgage off, how come your credit score goes down for that too? It's like those little inconsistencies that just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why is that? How is that even fair? Well, these are for-profit companies. Of course they want you to go into debt. They don't want you to close those credit cards because that is how they, you know, fund their company, by people borrowing money to do things that, you know, should be a right for everybody. Everybody should be able to go and buy a home if they want to. Everybody should be able to go buy a car if they want to. Those are necessities in this day and age, right? And so of course they want you to keep borrowing. If you close something or actually pay something off, that's not a good thing in their eyes. So then your credit score gets dinged for that. Not fair to me. It's almost like they're gaming the system with that. Like, and they all agree, these big three credit bureaus agree. They're kind of gaming the system, meaning like they're gonna ding you for getting ahead financially. Also, there are tons and tons of errors on millions and millions of people's credit reports that they are very slow to correct or fix. It's not impossible, but it's definitely possible for you to repair your own credit. I did a whole video series on that. I will leave them in the description box, or you can tap this eye right here to watch them, about how you can DIY credit repair yourself. Of course, if you want it done faster, or by a professional, or if you don't feel like dealing with it, you can also pay to get it done. But I personally would recommend you going the DIY route because it's cheaper. But there are tons of errors. There's lots of loopholes. There's lots of racial discrimination when it comes to credit reports. There's socioeconomic discrimination when it comes to credit reports. And it's just overall just not fair. It's not a fair system. So what Biden was looking to do, he was looking to transfer consumer credit ratings from the top three, the three big bureaus, which is Equifax, Experion, and TransUnion, over to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, okay? Basically a government agency. So what is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau? I'm gonna read it straight off of their website. It says, we aim to make consumer financial markets work for consumers, responsible providers, and the economy as a whole. We protect consumers from unfair, deceptive, or abusive practices and take action against companies that break the law. We arm people with the information, steps, and tools that they need to make smart financial decisions. Now, where was the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau when people were abusing, literally these lenders were financially abusing people who were trying to get their student loans, giving out the banks when they were giving out mortgages to people that they knew they could not afford it? Where were they at? You know, why isn't that the state attorney generals are having to sue Navient for their poor practices with financial abusive behavior of lending to adults where they knew that they could not afford to pay these student loans back? Why the colleges and the universities and the for-profit schools were able to charge so much? Where were these people at? That's why I'm like, is this really a good thing? Now, the Consumer Financial, CFPB for short, they are helpful with knowing what legally can be put on your credit report and what cannot be, because a lot of times TransUnion, Equifax, and Experion, the big three, they do make mistakes and they will add stuff on there that shouldn't be, and that's where the DIY credit repair comes in. But at the same time, does it really make sense to transfer all that power over to the government? I mean, how trusting are you of that? I just can't see that going amazing. Okay, to me, it's like the lesser of two evils. I don't know, these for-profit companies or the government. Do you really want the government to be able to go in and regulate your credit score? The problem with that is it's, you know, now I could see it would be nice if there was more transparency and where all three bureaus calculated it the same way and you knew what your credit score was. If your credit score was a certain way with Experian, then it was going to be the certain way with the other two bureaus as well. But at the same time, anytime the government gets involved, it automatically just gets way too complicated. Think about paying your taxes. Why do they make it so complicated to pay your taxes? It's like, well, one, why is it so expensive? And why is it so complicated to the point where people just, you know, blindly kind of just pay it because they make it so hard for you to educate yourself on it, or for the average person to educate themselves on it. You know, you think about people who pay their taxes in other countries and how it's such a breeze and so easy, but yet you have, you know, big companies like H&R Block and TurboTax lobbying in the government so that they don't make it easier and clearer for people to be able to pay just their taxes in a timely and efficient way. So many people overly pay in their taxes and they don't even know it because, again, the government makes it so complicated. Would they do the same thing with our credit score? I don't know, okay? Now, here's what I do want you to know. There is no really legs moving in this. Like, there aren't any set plans for this to happen, but this may happen in the future. We just don't know. So I just wanted to inform you guys to let you know that these articles are being written and it is interesting. So leave a comment down below and let me know. Do you think it's a good idea for the government to have all that power over 200 million Americans? I don't know. Leave a comment down below and let me know. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.